Oh man, one of the biggest nerfs of all time has just hit the Capital One Venture X this morning, where some people are actually deciding to either downgrade, cancel, and just say that this is the unfortunate end of the Capital One Venture X. What am I talking about? Well, as of June 3rd, just this morning, Capital One is changing lounge access policies for the worse. Because this new language has just appeared that states that beginning February 1st, 2026, Venture X and Venture X business card holders lounge access for additional cardholders, including authorized users, which I am, and account managers, will change. After this date, no additional cardholders will receive complimentary lounge access, meaning the 4 free authorized users that you get on your Venture X, all of those authorized users, myself included, will no longer receive complimentary lounge access. And if they want to add in lounge access, primary cardholders can now add that additional lounge access to those cardholders by paying an additional $125 per card. They mention here this is a significant loss for those with Venture X because authorized users will no longer have complimentary lounge access. Instead, they need to pay the $125 for the privilege. So that's right. For me, who is an authorized user under my good friend Calby and G's Venture X, starting February 1st, 2026, I will no longer have access to Capital One lounges and even Priority Pass lounges. And even beyond that, the old rule stated that I have access to that and one guest, so me and my wife. So now being an authorized user, not only does she not get access, but I also no longer have access in and itself. And this basically spells, I would say, one of the biggest nerfs that the Venture X has ever held. Because one of the main things that people mention when they get the Venture X card, they're like, okay, $300 travel credit, anniversary miles, 4 free authorized users that get their own additional lounge access. How many families are out there right now that have 4 people that need to have authorized users to get all of that lounge access? And now, as it states, you basically can add 4 authorized users for free, but if you want them to come into the lounge with you, now you got to pay 125 per person, aka an extra $500 per year to have you and your family or whoever your authorized users be able to enter lounges. Whereas for the past few years, as this card has been out, you never had to pay for their lounge access whatsoever. So this is why a lot of people have gotten this card because of the large amount of access of lounges that it gives you access to, and the fact that there's no annual fees for those authorized users, whereas everybody else, like Chase and Amex and what have you, all actually do charge for authorized users. So I think this is going to be one of the biggest pain points for the Venture X going forward. And if you look on this Reddit thread right here that was posted just 3 hours ago, you could see some of the language from a private email from Capital One over to this cardholder. And they mentioned the exact thing we just saw earlier, including guests of Venture X cardholders will also no longer receive complimentary access to Priority Pass lounges. At that time, Venture X primary cardholders and eligible additional cardholders can bring guests to Priority Pass lounges at a rate of $35 each per visit. So not only is it the authorized users getting nerfed, it's also the primary cardholder as well, because they mention right here, guests of the Venture X cardholder. So if you're traveling with your spouse and you only own a Venture X, you no longer can get her in completely for free to Priority Pass lounges directly. And if you want to bring, your spouse into a Priority Pass lounge, now it's $35 each per visit, which is, oh, that's a gut punch. Absolutely. For a lot of people who have the Venture X. And as the first comment on this Reddit thread states, the party is over. Now, before we look at some of the comments from everyone else in the community, I wanted to also say, like, I'm usually not a doom and gloom type person. I usually like to look at the bright side. And if you want to be an optimist in this situation, I think the main thing is, well, I guess this is solving the overcrowding issue. Right? Because if you have each person as a Venture X also has 4 authorized users, then all of those authorized users can also bring a guest in for free, as it was in the past. I mean, that's an additional, I guess, total 9 different people, including the guest on the primary cardholder, that can have access to all of these different lounges completely for free. Now it's going to have to be for a fee. And I think if you're going to be an optimist and looking on the bright side, it's going to be overcrowding. But that hurts everybody in the community who has ever gotten a Venture X, because that is probably 30% of the value of the card stripped away right then and there. I would say even more probably what some people would say, but I'm trying to be conservative. Now let's see some of the comments on this Reddit thread here, and then a couple other ones on YouTube that I thought were interesting. Some people mentioned that it really doesn't matter that much because they never end up flying or going near any Priority Pass lounges anyway. This person recounting the new $125 extra fee for lounge access for authorized users. This guy Man Lizard said, that's the more ridiculous part to me. That's insane. I have to pay extra for my wife to get into a lounge. Now, when we both use X as our primary card, this guy said to call and complain. This guy mentions, I guess your wife can open her own Venture X. I mean, it technically still pays for itself. Here's the actual full write-up of the terms. So primary cardholders can pay an annual lounge access fee of $125 per additional cardholder to maintain their lounge access. This will grant them access to Capital One lounges, Capital One landings, and Priority Pass lounges. In order to grant a Priority Pass Select membership to additional cardholders, primary cardholders will need to pay the annual lounge access fee, and additional cardholders will still need to re-enroll. All Priority Pass Select membership cards, physical and digital, previously issued by the VentureX, which I do have, will expire on February 1st, 2026, regardless of the expiration date listed on the card. Oh, oh man. This guy right here mentions what I said is the only silver lining, which would be I'm okay with it if it means I can get into the lounge every time. The guests and authorized users were contributing to overcrowding. The lounges are really good. I can get the value back in a couple of visits. I'm assuming this will mean less children in the lounge too. I respect parents, but as a do it no kids, I welcome this change. And yeah, I agree with this guy. They just should at least allow one extra guest when traveling with the primary card holder. I mean, that's like one of the major flaws in a lot of these different lounges. It's like, if I have an Amex Platinum card and I want to get into either a Delta Sky Club or a Centurion Lounge, yeah, me as the primary card holder, I can get in for free. But my wife, who I want to bring into these lounges, has to pay upwards to $50 per visit just to have access to that lounge with me. And one of the main benefits of the Venture X is just, yes, you could bring you and your spouse in completely for free. And now that is also even going away. So I just think, I can see them nerfing all of the priority passes on the authorized users, but the fact that you're actually getting rid of it for the primary cardholders guest as well is kind of crazy to me. It's kind of crazy. So, and I also did a post on YouTube that actually shared this news, and some people had some things to say. Illman Gaming mentions it's all downhill from here. Oh Lord. This guy Matt here says something interesting, which is another line in the sand to force one to choose one premium card ecosystem compared to being able to justify having toes in your water of the Venture X, CSR, Platy, etc., etc. So it's like choose one ecosystem instead of being able to have them all. Cesar Joel mentions that it lost what made the card great, and Texas Dog mentioned if I have to pay for my wife to enter the lounge, the perk isn't worth it to me. And like Cesar said, I think this is a really huge reason why a lot of people have gotten the Venture X in the first place. I mean, people really love the $300 annual travel credits. Very easy to use, very simplistic, it's powerful, and the 10,000 bonus anniversary miles. And yes, you can get that annual fee down and it could be worthwhile. But with the fact that one of the major perks to this card and why most people have all said, like, why they got a Venture X in the first place, and in true American Express fashion, they now have a $75,000 spending requirement each calendar year to be able to bring guests in for free at all of these different lounges. And, we have seen this 75K number, I think, on 3 different issuers as of now, I believe. And I guess one little caveat here that NerdWallet found is Capital One Venture X Rewards credit card holders, so the personal version, will also lose complimentary access for guests to lounges in the Priority Pass network. However, the Capital One Venture X business card holders will not be affected and will still be able to bring 2 guests in for free to the Priority Pass lounges. How long will that reign true? Who knows? I mean, I guess they see the business owners, charging way more to their cards, so maybe that's why. It's a little bit more of an incentive to push them on that end. And honestly, for those who've been in this game for the past year or two, you've seen so many different little changes here and there, and not just the Venture X, like, oh, we're taking away Hertz Presidential and now it's permanent, or like changes of the portal credit many years ago. Even the $95 Venture card, losing lounge access as well, just like a year or two ago, and a few other things. And we've seen so many changes on so many different credit card issuers. It's more of a reminder to just kind of use these cards, use the value that come from them, see where they make sense, and be really conservative in your valuations because things really do change over time. And it also means that it's not the end of the world, right? The Venture X is still a great card for what it is without all of the lounge access. Even though it was a huge part of what people loved about them, you can still love the Venture X over time. And it just means that you have to be more and more flexible to all of these changes and be able to move and shake where things make sense and where they don't make sense. So if that was your only reason to get this card and now you're like, I'm going to downgrade, I'm going to cancel it. So then there's always another ecosystem that can maybe fit your lifestyle a little bit better. And hey, maybe you're somebody who loves that it's going to get rid of some overcrowding next year and you don't mind paying $125 for authorized users or a $45 fee to get your spouse into a Capital One lounge, something like that. So There's always going to be some people who say good and bad with everything, but let me know what you think down below on your thoughts on the VentureX changes and if this changes everything for you in this credit card game. So let me know your thoughts down below. But if you want to see all of the new cards that are going to be coming out, ones that can maybe replace the VentureX of the future, who really knows, check out this video right here. It's all of the new premium VentureX-like credit cards that are coming out in the next year that I think you might find some value from. So I hope to see you there. Hope you get some value from it, and I appreciate every single one. Thank you so much. Take care. Enjoy.